Hello, friends, and welcome to our Chapter 1 study guide. We're going to get started on the very first section, and we will just break this up as we go. The first set of directions says to name a pair of each of the following using the diagram. This just implies you only have to name one pair. There might be more than one that exists, there might not be, but you only have to give one example. So the first thing that we're going to do is look for a set of complementary angles. Remember that complementary angles have a sum of 90 degrees. So when I look for complementary angles, the first thing I do is I look for my right angle box. So let's notice, here's a right angle box. Unfortunately, complementary angles are two angles that add up to 90, and there's not two angles coming out of this right angle box that complete that. But if that is 90 degrees, where else can I copy a 90? Well, because I have this straight line from A to D, I know that total, that makes 180 degrees. And if that is 180 and this piece is 90, what is 180 minus that 90? That gives me a 90-degree box on this side too. And because I've been able to add that there, now I'm able to add this heart, and I'm going to do a star, in order to say, hey, those two angles make that up. So which ones have a sum of 90 degrees? I'm going to go heart and star. So when I name the heart, so I'm going to go heart plus star, add up to 90. Sum of 90. Those add up to 90. So let's do that. Heart plus star is equal to 90. And so now we're going to name those with letters. Okay, so when I name that first one, that is going to be, let's go ahead and do purple. Okay, that first one, that heart, remember we need to put the O in the middle as the vertex. And so I'm going to trace it. BOC or COB would also be the same thing. So angle BOC is that heart angle. The star is going to be angle COD. Again, where O is the vertex, you could also call that DOC and COB, but those are going to be complementary. All right, when I look for supplementary angles, I look for a perfectly straight line because supplementary angles are going to have a sum of 180 degrees. So I can either look for numbers that add up to 180, but in this picture we don't have numbers. And so I could either do those two right angles or I could look for a perfectly straight line. When I look for that perfectly straight line, these two orange ones make that straight line. Those form a linear pair, and thus they're going to be supplementary. So I'm going to put different symbols on those. And so I'm going to do a smiley face on this one, and I will do a, what else should I do? I will do a triangle on this one. Okay, so which ones have a sum of 180? Smiley face plus triangle add up to 180. Whenever you add those up, that's 180 degrees. I could also do those two right angles if I wanted to, but I'm going to do the smiley face. Okay, so let me write those out. Which ones have a sum of 180? I would name those. The smiley face is angle AOE. Again, O is always going to be the vertex. And then angle DOE. Okay, so those two have a sum of 180 degrees. The two purple ones, though, the two right angles would also have a sum of 180. So AOB and BOD would also work. But we're just naming a pair, so that implies that there might be more than one. All right, now we need a set of adjacent angles. And so if I'm putting things on here, adjacent angles are angles that share the same vertex and array. So there's multiple ones on here. Let me just put one more symbol. We'll go pink. We have heart, we have a star, we have a smiley face, we have a triangle. I will also do a, y'all, I'm blanking. Okay, let's do a balloon. I don't know why that's where my brain is going. We'll do a balloon, okay? And so you can say any of these angles are adjacent to each other that share a vertex and array. So balloon and heart are adjacent, heart and star are adjacent, star and triangle are adjacent, smiley face and triangle are adjacent, and then smiley face and balloon are adjacent. Any of them that share a vertex and array. You could also say that, let me just color this in. So this one, AOC and COD are adjacent because they share a vertex and array. So it doesn't have to be those individual symbols, but that just kind of makes it easier to name. Okay, so which ones are adjacent? You could do any of the ones that are next to each other. I'm going to do the balloon and the smiley face. Okay, adjacent just means they're next door neighbors. So like angle AOB, that right angle, angle AOB, there's my balloon. Horrible picture of a balloon. And then the smiley face would be angle AOE. Those are adjacent because they both share vertex O, and they share the ray coming out from O to A. Okay? All right, vertical angles. When you're looking for vertical angles, you are looking for an X. And so when I look for that, I have an X right here. That green line and that yellow line make an X. And so those vertical angles are going to be angles, the top and bottom, and then the left and right coming out of those. So this angle right here would make a bow tie with this one. And again, we want our bow ties to be symmetrical, the left side of the bow tie to match the right side of the bow tie. Those are going to be congruent. And so that's a set of vertical angles that I can name. Angle AOE. That is the smiley face and the star. And so angle AOE and angle COD. My previous example was the balloon, supposed to be a balloon, and AOE was the smiley face. So I like to put symbols on these to help me name them. Just to like look for things. Naming them is already hard enough. Symbols makes it just a little bit easier in my brain when I know what I'm looking for. Okay? All right. Linear pair. A linear pair is two angles that make a line. And so straight lines. So I've already done the supplementary angles, so I'm just going to copy those from above. Copy that here. We already know that those are supplementary, meaning they add up to 180. And so I know that together those form a straight line because they form line AD. Okay, so that is smiley face and star. Smiley face. Oh, no, I'm sorry, smiley face and triangle, because those form a straight line, which means that they add up to 180 degrees, and they are adjacent to each other. All right, I will start a new video on the next portion.